Okay. And data centers, we've been promising to talk about this for a long time. We're going to do a preliminary on it tonight. It's happening across the country. Abilene was a focal point because the president mentioned it.
Yeah, and he met with Oracle and all them.
Yeah, as Project Stargate.
Yeah, and go ahead.
That was pretty much it. Here we are with it sitting out here on the edge of the city limits, and no one voted for it. There's backlash. I'm proud to say a lot of people are resisting this thing. We want to get into all that.
Yeah.
Now, and it may be, but it's never too late.
No.
You know, I mean.
And admittedly, me and you both were, it wasn't on our radar enough. And now that I've done the work to research it, it is on my radar, and it's a big, big problem. Big problem.
We're going to talk tonight about the problems.
Well, yeah, we're going to I'm going to go through and explain real quick what it is, what we're talking about, because most people don't even know. They know Stargate. They know there's a data center. They know a lot of people came to Abilene. That's about all they know.
Yeah.
And they know the rent. It's hard to rent anywhere, but we'll get into that.
Yep.
But so what it is, this is the Crusoe Abilene Data Center Campus is what it's called. That's actually, we were talking about it earlier. What did that mean? It's actually after the fictional character Robinson Crusoe, which is ironic if you look at what that character was. But, and then it's widely known. So there's two, under that campus, there's two facilities now. It was the Lancium Stargate one, which is the open AI, and then Oracle was doing their thing with them as a partner. Now Oracle, we'll tell you about why here in a minute, but they backed out on some of theirs. Like, well, we're gonna pull back on some of that, and then they leased it to Microsoft. So they've taken over that factory of it, and it brought in 5,000 to 9,000 workers. It's an average of about 6,000 people a year that weren't, they came to Texas to build them. That's why the traffic on 351 is so crazy and all over really. But and then that's why the prices, you can't get an apartment or a house anywhere for rent hardly without paying triple what it should have cost a year ago.
Yeah. And
they're putting a lot of them up in RV parks now, which is better because at least when they all leave after it's built, it won't just have all these empty homes all over Abilene.
Right.
But that's what the name of it is. And then it's a complex building. The complex it's 8 buildings on the Stargate side and 2 more buildings for the Microsoft side. And so you're looking at 10 buildings in total. And moving to what that is. So you're looking at 2.1 gigawatts, and that's a lot. Gigawatts of total projected capacity that they're going to need for these 10 buildings. Each building will hold 100,000 GPUs, the little processing things. So 100,000, 10 buildings, that's a million of them will be going here in Abilene's alone. And so to give you an idea, 1 gigawatt of power is enough to power roughly 750,000 to 850,000 homes. And we've got 2.1 gigawatts. So it's about 1.6 to 1.8 million average homes could be powered by as much as this data center is going to use, just to give you an idea of the power structure of it. And so it's like supplying electricity to a large city or several mid-sized ones.
But you'll be told not to use too much electricity during a winter storm.
Yes. And the blackouts and all that happens already when the grid is down.
Right.
It's going to be more. And it's not like Abilene is the only one. They're popping up all over Texas. I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot right now.
Yeah.
But to give you an idea of the size of this thing, it's, like I said, it's 2.1 gigawatts. That puts us in the top 10 in the whole U.S., that size-wise, and is in the top 20 globally, how big it is.
God.
And it's just, one thing after another. So the tax abatement issue, that's something we need to talk about up front, because that's bothered me from the beginning. The city council gave them 85% tax abatement, and the Taylor County Commissioner's Court gave them 80%. So this is a project, over a $200 million project. So we're talking about every year their tax abatement, that 85% that they're not paying. So they're paying basically $3 to $4 million in taxes, but they're not paying $27 million. That's that's more than $23 million dollars in taxes that are not going to anything in Abilene or Taylor County to make up for this. And if you do it over a 10-year lease, which is what it is, you're talking $230 million that our city is missing out on. That is crazy work.
And there's talk, yeah.
Go ahead.
There's talk about this tick problem in America. I think we have a big fat parasite sitting right here on our shoulder, right here northwest of town.
Yeah. So moving on here. Let's see. They project, I'll give them, this is what they've claimed. It's going to be $18 million a year in revenue that's going to bring the city. And they project it's going to last like that for 20 years. The problem is, as soon as they get these things built, the 6,000 leave, and maybe a couple hundred people, about 200 people from Abilene even will have full-time jobs after this. And the rest will all leave or be from outside of Source. So it's not going to benefit Abilene for 20 years for sure, because they'll build it. They only have a 10-year lease. They could do all they're going to do in 10 years and say, oh, we're done, and go do the same thing somewhere else. And then you just got, for what? All the destruction and all the house prices.
And I've heard very few personnel are actually required to stay and man these things. A lot of it is done remotely.
That's what I'm saying. A couple hundred people at max.
And I've heard even that might be a high number.
It's very possible.
Anyway, it does not mean substantial jobs for Abilene.
Yeah. So
Bottom line there.
That's the information side of that. And then real quick, I just want to go over some of the things that were said that just, I couldn't believe it when I was reading this. Let's see. Yeah. So Weldon Hurt, our mayor of Abilene, Weldon Hurt, he got to talk about it, and he got asked, well, all this construction and all the traffic, and what does that mean? He said, it's the price of progress is always hard, and there's a construction part, it's inconvenient, and this is a big one, this is a huge one, so it's hugely inconvenient. But, and then he goes on to say, it put Abilene on the national map. We have a great county relations, and we've worked together on this, and our DCOA program did it. And he said, so this is a win for Abilene, but it's not just a win for Abilene, it's a win for the whole region. I'd argue, no, it's not, and we're going to get into the reasons why in a minute, but that's just what our mayor said about the whole thing. He also said, when he got asked about the amount of gallons of water and stuff they're going to use, he said, it's an exciting time. We're going to have the biggest data center in the world right here in Abilene, Texas. And he went on, just to...
Hooray!
Yeah, like that's a good thing. That's not. Now, I put a message out to Judge Crowley, the Taylor County Court judge, because I've known him and he's always been fair with me. Mm-hmm. So I sent him a message the other day, and I said, tell me why y'all supported this. And he, to his credit, he got back to me and said, yeah, I'll sit down with you in my office, or I'll meet you for coffee or whatever. And I think me and Jason may take him up on that. So I'm not going to blast him like I was some of the other people yet. I want to hear what he says first.
Sure.
But, just reading this old quote, when he was asked about it, he said, it's an economic miracle. It started as smaller projects in 2021, and then it's grown progressively, as all of them do, we found out. Then he said, I think everyone was shocked in a good way when President Trump mentioned it. The secret's out. Abilene is one of the best places to work, but the secrets are outright, and it's just an economic miracle that's taking place here. Again, I would argue that it's not a miracle, and the amount of things it's going to cause problems are, which is what we're going to go over now. But that's just where our leadership in Abilene was saying about that. And to be clear, this happened 2021 was the initial December of 21. The city council passed it unanimously. That voted. Mayor Williams was in charge then, and him and Tarver did not vote. Carver did not vote.
Carver, yeah.
Our councilman, they were not there or whatever. They didn't vote, but the rest of them voted unanimously to pass it. And then Judge Downing Bowles was in charge then for the Taylor County Court, the Commissioners Court, and they passed it unanimously. All of them, the 4 commissioners and him, voted for it, and that was in 2021. And then they recycled this. They voted for the abatement, to give them the property, to sign off on all the building permits and everything, to basically make it as easy for them to do it as possible, which is the only way these companies come, because if they don't get everything they want, they just pick a different place to do it.
Yeah.
That's why they're popping up in Utah and everywhere else, like Mr. Wonderful in Utah is doing one. And he said that flatly, like, yeah, if we don't get everything we want and all the tax abatements, we'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we were sold out, basically. But so then in 2025, they re-upped them all. This is with the expansions. Now it went from the original 2 to 3 buildings they signed on for to 10 buildings, and even more, land and resources going to be used. And then this one, our entire city council voted for it without anybody saying no. And when it came over to the Taylor County Courthouse, Judge Crowley was in charge this time, and all 3 of the 4 commissioners voted for it, and Judge Crowley voted for it. So 4 out of 5, and Kyle Kendrick was the only commissioner who didn't. So I don't know why he didn't, but I'm glad he didn't. That's one.
Where is Kyle Kendrick now?
He's still on the commission.
All right. Hooray for Kyle Kendrick. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to ask him personally and see why he didn't, and if he got wind of, hey, this is not going to be a good thing, or what the reasoning was. I don't know. But
yeah.
So one of the sickest parts is all this was done, as quietly as possible. They weren't putting anything out on the news like, hey, we're thinking about bringing this massive project. It's going to take all these resources, because they didn't want Abilene people showing up, and it worked. In 2021, nobody spoke out in either the Commissioner's Court or the City Council about it. And in 2025, one person showed up to speak against it at the City Council. And then there are like 6 people showed up at the Taylor County to speak on it on the Commissioner's Court. But in the minutes of it, it doesn't say whether they were for or against it. So I don't even know if they were against it or actually celebrating it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, they both passed. All of it passed. It's a big problem, which we're going to have to, in future ones, we're going to address different types of things that you can do to help, so let's get this fight going, see what we can do.
Yeah, we're told resistance is futile. If you want to be with the times, if you want to not be a resistor or a holdout, to just go along with it, we say that's not, that actually the data centers themselves may be the establishment of an enemy, that may be big tech is going to use these things.
I would almost bet on it. They're going to use them to attack our freedoms and to track us and to do all kinds of things. But we're going to put a special segment together about all those things too. Right now, we're just kind of an introduction, but
yeah.
Let me get through the reasons real quick, and then we're going to give you some Facebook groups and some things to sign up to.
Yes.
So just to start getting out there. And then,
I don't want to derail you.
No, you're good. So just to give you a little breakdown of what we're concerned about the most. So the electric companies, the whole thing, they're saying if you look at Texas data centers all over Texas so far, and the ones that have already been in either going or have been going for a couple of years now, they're saying you can expect north of up to nearly 79% increase by 2027 in your electric bills. So that's almost 80%. That's crazy. There's all kinds of power issues. In Nevada, for example, NV Energy just came out and told 49,000 people that live in Lake Tahoe, by 2027, we're not going to be able to provide any more electricity to you. We're going to only provide to the data center. So y'all, good luck. Find electricity.
Yeah.
And there's not even another electric company right now that can do that.
Yeah. Under global warming alarmism, they've told us don't have too many pets or kids even. Don't drive your SUV too much. Conserve power and think about the planet. And what are they doing? They're taking all the energy. It's all for robots and AI. And humans, you're on your own, kid.
Yeah. But that's just one small example. Even the SCR, which is the selective catalytic reduction, tech to cut these things, but the pollution coming off them. And I'm not the big global warming guy or whatever, and the massive amount of emissions and stuff is real deal off these things. It has to be when there's that much power being burnt and gas and water used, the resources. And so the whole thing, they told us, don't worry, this is a closed loop, direct to chip liquid cooling system. There's zero evaporated loss for the normal operation. And it's going to take 10 million gallons to fill it to begin with. But then don't worry, we'll only use 50,000 per year. Well, that's kind of, if you actually look at how these things work and what the amount of power they're going to need, because they're going to have to keep growing these things, because the more and more people are using AI, you'll have to be able to use AI to make full length, hour movies in about 30 minutes. It's just that kind of generation that's going to come. And the amount of actual extra stuff they're going to have to do, these systems weren't designed for that, to hold that much, and it's not going to work. And I'll get into how it hasn't already. So let's see, that one's done. You got to think about, we live in West Texas, so severe drought is a real thing, and we're already low on the water, but this is going to take more pressure on that. Let's see, where did I put that? So,
yeah, well, you have restrictions where you can only water your lawn once a week or whatever when they have those water restrictions, and then they allow this giant data center to come in and consume millions of gallons of water.
Yeah, and in 2026, early 2026 of this year, winter weather event happened, and West Texas in here, and it disrupted our current plan out there that they're not even done building, and the liquid cooling infrastructure in the Stargate campus. And when it happened, the secondary loops froze. It required manual intervention and caused multiple buildings to be offline for days. And it actually, I guess it spooked Oracle a little bit because it strained their relationship. And that's when Oracle announced, hey, we're going to pull back a little bit. And then they got Microsoft and let them lease it. But already it's showing issues and potential things that could go wrong with this. And that's a big problem with the water loop, the closed loop system, which is what we were told was so good. And I don't believe our leaders really looked into this very well, unfortunately.
Right.
But again, you're talking about leaks, freezing, maintenance, fluid degradation, higher energy use, and on and on and on there. So there's a lot of problems with that loop. And then of course we talked about the housing pressure already because of the workers that are here. The rent and everything has gone astronomically high for every place. Even things that used to cost a couple $100 to rent are now in the thousands. It's absolutely crazy.
And all the thousands of acres that it takes to build these and establish these data centers, there could be grass growing there. There could be trees, cattle grazing, and that's food.
Yeah.
So I think it looks like big tech cares nothing about humans. And this may be a giant bubble that's going to bust at some point. I think a lot of investment's going to be lost.
And we see stories all over the country of people that are literally freezing in their own homes because they're having to use only heat to do 1-2 rooms in their whole big house because the price has gone so astronomically high on their bills, which is what we're about to find out. And then people are going to be pissed. If you look at some real world examples of that, in Northern Virginia at their data center alley, wholesale electricity costs rose as much as 267% on their bills. We're talking about bills jumped from $100 a month to $281 a month because of the data centers. In Maryland, again, there's near Virginia clusters in Baltimore, the gas and electric customers, they saw anywhere from 20% to 50% increases. Even our own projections say that's going to happen here. So we're expecting at least a minimum of 20% and more like 70% or over 50% probably. because they've been wrong every step of the way, or those are the low numbers. But it's just one thing after another. Like here's even the broader projections with forecasts anywhere from 25% to 70% bill increases in the coming years. Here,
25% to 70%.
That's a giant percent jump too. And so it's anywhere, and that's the low end is 25, the top end is 70, and even that may not be enough because other places have been almost 80.
Folks, we have such a big fight here.
Yes.
Like this is something we're really going to have to fight. If there's nothing else Republicans and Democrats can agree on, yes. It's this. We've got to fight to keep our farmland. We've got to fight to keep our basic resources.
Yes.
Because you need food and water to survive. Yeah. The hell with the robots and the AI.
I mean, even our Texas senators and congressmen have been talking about years. We've got to find new water sources because we're running out of water. Well, what do they think this is going to do? It's just going to make that even worse. It's absolutely insane. Even I can't stand the man, but Charles Perry, that's one of the number one things he's been working on other than trying to screw people over on the Constitution and their THC. The second thing has been trying to find a water source because we're running out of water and it's not sustainable. But what are we going to do? We're going to give this to God knows how much water they're going to need. It's an outrage.
Yes. Like what happened in Kentucky today with Thomas Massey. These data centers are a freaking outrage.
So to kind of recap the takeaways, the power demand will grow, they believe, almost 70% in the power demand, like in Texas, will be 70% higher in the next 6 years. And almost half of that is going to be going to data centers. And then the higher demand obviously causes higher energy prices because the data centers aren't going to pay it. They're going to get the biggest breaks, and the consumers are going to pay it. The real people it's going to hurt is us. There's going to be now they're trying to build more of those transmission lines and the distribution lines. You know, they call them the dinosaur lines, and these are going to be massive lines that are terrible for the economy. The landowners don't want them. They're going to use eminent domain to try to force them on there. You know, I will say the Taylor County Commissioners Court has already come out with a resolution saying they're against those, but I don't know at this point that they can even stop that if it's part of the required stuff for the data centers, because then the data centers probably got it where they'll sue the county and the city if they don't get on board with it. So I don't know that for sure, but you know, I would think that they're smart enough to put that in there ahead of time if they knew they were going to build them.
Yeah. And those of us that represent us, and y'all allow this to happen right under our noses,
yeah.
I would say wake up, because the people are going to be coming for you.
Yeah.
I've seen instances where the entire city council was voted out over this issue.
Yeah, and I've already looked into what types of things you can do to recall people. So, you know, if you're out there and you're listening and you're an official, you better get on the right side of this and start apologizing or finding ways to do something different in a hurry, because the buck's going to land on you when people start having 70% increases on their bills. They're going to be looking for who done it, and I'm going to tell them because I've got the votes right there.
Just like with Republicans in the war, you officials in this data center, it's never too late. At some point, you have to admit you were wrong,
yeah,
and start fixing the problem.
Yeah. So, how do you say that? ERCOT?
ERCOT?
Yeah, that's the Electricity Reliability Council of Texas.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones, the big power grid operators in all of Texas. And they project, this is their projections, a total electricity load in Texas will grow from 87 gigawatts, what it was in 2025, to over 140 gigawatts by 2031. And the data centers will make up nearly 50% of that. So that's just an insane amount of power. They're going to come in and take and use Texas power for this.
Well, we'll just have to go live in cardboard boxes and give all the money and all the resources to the robots.
And the vehicles, they're already from 2027 on, they're going to be where they can decide, you know, where you can go, if you can go, will they let you drive it? So
yeah, for those of you who don't know, and by next year, all car manufacturers are required to have the equipment in the car to spy on you and to shut the car down remotely.
And think of the local people around these data centers too. And I've listened to read a bunch of stories of people around them, like their horses are just freaking out there at the ranches, like because it's lit up like a prison, or worse than a prison. It's ridiculous, and the humming and the noise pollution. But the thing is, once they got it up there and built it, that person's screwed because the property value's cut in like almost 10% of what it used to be worth. So if they sold, they're going to lose everything. So they either stay there and endure with that bull, or they sell and pennies on the dollar, because that's what that property is worth around it. And I'm sure Lancium and them would be love to scoop it up for more expansion. But
yeah, well, I think big tech has made it obvious that they don't care about people. That I think they believe they will not need as many people, and the elite have been talking for a long time about eliminating a great portion of the population. And this shows me they may be damn well serious about that, because they know what they're doing is going to be a disaster for the communities around.
Yeah. What was this project that we're going to look into? This one project. Can you read it?
Oh, Matador?
Yeah. That one's supposed to be in Texas, and they said it's like going to be the size of like 15 Disney Worlds.
In Texas.
Yeah.
Project Matador.
And we're going to look into it and verify it before we talk more about it. But if that's coming, that's going to be even more of a massive burden.
Yeah.
I think they said the other day there's 3,300 current data centers in the U.S. right now, and building every day.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible for us. It's terrible for the county. We don't know. I can't say your bill specifically is going to go X dollars, but I know there's a percentage coming. Even they say 25 to 50%. Get ready for it, and that's their low numbers. So that's all we wanted to kind of cover in this portion, the introduction to it. But we're going to definitely get in more to some of the things they're going to use it to take away our freedoms and our rights, and then what different types of things we can do going forward to fight it. But why don't you give out some of that information?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, we're going to talk solutions soon on this. Just an introduction to solutions tonight. For those of you who want to talk to others that have a real problem with these data centers, on the national Facebook group end, you got a group called Say No to Data Centers. That's on Facebook, and that's your national level group. And there's also on Facebook, Texas Coalition Against Data Centers. And for those of you who use Reddit,
yeah,
it's called what is it called? Stop the Building and Expansion of Data Centers in Abilene, I believe was the full title of that.
If you just look up data centers in Abilene on Reddit, you can probably find it. But
yeah,
there's a whole Reddit, that's a whole chat where they are all in there talking about it, different people around Abilene. And so...
But let's say you are in Abilene, you can still say, or go to Say No to Data Centers on Facebook, and you'll be talking with other people in Abilene, because this is a big hot button topic right now.
Yeah, and people are just now starting to wake up to including us. We weren't, I'm saying we weren't asleep on it, but it wasn't a top concern, but it is a big one, and we need to worry about it.
And we're not just going to worry, we're going to fight the son of a gun.
Right. And I'd like to get something done on the Republican level to do a resolution or something, but I've got to wake up a bunch of those people too, because they don't know enough about it.
Right.
And that's by design. They didn't want to tell us a bunch about this, so
yeah,
we'll see what we can do there. But I know there's some national movements, a group that goes every other Saturday or something, and I don't know. I got to look more into that group to see if it's a sound group or not. But anyway, we'll look into that more when we do. What we're going to do about this.
Like I said before, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, wherever you stand on the political spectrum. We all need water. We all need electricity, and we don't need to pay more for it.
For somebody else to use all our power and electricity and water and gas and everything else.
Possibly to turn around and spy on us.
Yeah, for sure. Not probably, I'd say, not just possibly.
Yeah. So that the technocratic revolution is here, and we stand here to oppose it for the free humanity. And if you don't stand with that, you don't stand a chance in American politics going forward, because as we can see, the youth is voting for America First, and they're getting their head screwed on straight, and they're not going to be lied to by corporate news like Fox News.